Hello, everyone. Happy New Year and welcome on into Prop Culture for Week 18. One more regular season week here to get in the books, and let's start off 2026 in a good way. I'm Thomas Viola. He's Derek Carty, and what is up, everybody? It is great to have y'all here in the chat with us again. We're going to be celebrating a great new year here and hopefully getting it started off right by cashing you some winners on this final regular season week. Derek, it's going to be an interesting slate this week. It's certainly a lot more difficult with which teams are trying, which teams don't necessarily have anything to play for, the much ballyhooed contract incentives, a whole bunch of angles, whole bunch of stuff going on. Are you ready for Week 18?
Yeah, I guess you could say I'm ready. It's a strange week. Like you said, there's a lot of things to consider. Ultimately, I think a lot of it winds up coming down to not really being actionable. But I don't know. Like, I feel like this is a very sparse week in terms of the number of quality bets that are available. Sometimes you look at the board and it's like, oh man, I love this and this and this and this and this and this. This week there is very few that I'm like, oh yeah, that one looks great.
Yeah, it's definitely a little bit more of an interesting week. I mean, the last couple of weeks here, we've had a whole compendium of plays to get through. And this week, I'm not going to lie, guys, slate's feeling a little bit light, but hey, we have plenty that we can talk about. We have plenty to get through. And of course, we're always taking your questions in the chat. So, hey, let's get to it. Don't forget to drop your questions in there because we will answer each and every one of them. Excited to talk plenty more about anything that you guys have going today, but let's get started. Derek, first one up here, we're looking at Rico Dowdle.
Yep, we are looking at Rico Dowdle under 2.5 receptions, minus 205 at DraftKings and MGM and 365 are the best line on the board. The blitz is projecting a little over 2 here. We're getting more than a quarter of a reception under the line, and we're getting it pretty close to even money. So this one looks pretty good. There was a quote earlier this week in the Coach Speak Index Discord from, I believe it was Dave Canales, the head coach, where he talked about wanting to get Chuba Hubbard more involved. Chuba's an absolute stud. He's one of the leaders. I love Chuba. We're going to give him the ball some more and find ways for him to impact the game because he's just a guy that I really trust. That was the quote. So I'm hoping
sounds like us in there.
Yeah, I know, right? A little bit more Chuba this week, a little bit less Rico. And 3 catches for a running back is always a lot regardless.
Yeah, that 2.5 number is a big one to be. That 2.5 one it's a big number to fill for a running back, especially if we're going to see actual more splits. And hey, the Panthers could actually be in the playoffs next week, depending on how the Falcons Saints game plays out. Which is there anything more NFC South than the Falcons and Saints playing a game to decide the division title, which neither team can win?
It really is not anything more.
Yeah, like absolutely incredible. But they could really want to keep their running backs, keep their players fresh. The Panthers could actually have a postseason to play for here. So yeah, definitely wouldn't be surprised if we see them lean more on some Chuba this week, and we get to go back to some of our old favorite bets of betting some Chuba overs there. But we're going to
see Chuba over carries to pop up on the board. I haven't seen it at any books yet, but if that shows up, if anyone sees it, definitely let us know.
Yeah, it'll be a nice blast from the past. Maybe we'll also bet some Ajay Pirine receiving overs too. All right. Next one that we got up though is another running back receiving under. We're going to be looking at the Zach Charbonnet. You know, it's only a Charbonnet if it's from the Seattle region of Washington. Otherwise, it's just a sparkling pass-catching running back.
Yeah, we're looking at Charbonnet under 1.5 catches, plus 105 at MGM. The Score, Hard Rock is the best line on the board, but pretty widely available within 5 or 10 points pretty much everywhere. Blitz is projecting a little under 1.5, so we're getting about a 55-60% play here at a little bit of plus money, which is always going to be nice. Charbonnet has certainly gotten work this year. Had a big week last week, I believe it was. But most of his work is like goal line work. He's not involved in the pass game very much at all. And so 2 catches for a guy who, let me see if I can find his his target share this year and his route share real quick. 4.5% target share. He's run a route on only 38% of the dropbacks. Just not super involved. Splits work with Kenneth Walker. And so the under here looks good for him.
Nice. Rabbi and Lou saying I've been waiting for a Charbonnet pun for years, but going back to Chuba real quick, Chad is telling us here, Mark Paris and Loopy Snoopy both saying we got some 7.5 carries out there.
Okay. I think the blitz is projecting like 8.5, 8 3/4, something like that. So I'll have to take a look and see what books have it offered.
Yeah, very interesting. Definitely worth a look. Definitely worth a shout. I'm sure that's going to be one that's taken up on our play sheet as well. But right now, let's go to Pat Bryant and his reception market here. Pat Bryant, has there ever been a more punter name than Pat Bryant?
It really would be a punter name. So this is only available at FanDuel. Normally I don't do bets that are only available at like one book, but FanDuel is a pretty widely accessible one. Everyone should pretty much have access to it. And we have a light week, like we said, so gotta try to squeeze some juice out of this. So Pat Bryant under 2.5 plus 118 at FanDuel is our line. The Broncos tend to mix up their receivers a lot. Pat Bryant hasn't played in a few weeks. There's a chance he just doesn't play here, and this is a void. But if he does play, I think under 2.5 at plus money is going to be a good bet, especially considering that the Chargers are going to be resting their starters. Denver's like almost a 2-touchdown favorite here, so probably more running than passing anyway. And Bryant probably, maybe going to be eased in a little bit if he does play with the playoffs coming up.
Yeah, that's good. I'll tell you, I could not tell you which team he was a receiver on. The Broncos receiving core is not exactly where I'm going to be looking for some overs on these fringe roster guys here. So definitely loving this one as well. Let's talk Derrick Henry now. It's Steelers versus Ravens for the division title. Going to be a very exciting game, and we are once again going to be riding the Derrick Henry gravy train that has been very good to us this season, betting on him not to do things.
Yep, we are looking at Derrick Henry under 18.5 carries plus 110 at Caesars rather. Looks like our best line. Blitz is projecting about 16.5, so 2 carries under the line here. This is a must-win game for the Ravens. It looks like Lamar is going to be back. And so presumably they will be leaning on Lamar a little bit more here. Plus, they've been using Henry and Keaton Mitchell kind of in a rotation the last couple of weeks. So 19 carries for Henry, I think, is a lot when you consider that Keaton Mitchell is going to be involved here. And there's a chance that Justice Hill gets activated this week as well, which I think I haven't really seen reported anywhere except other than just some quotes in the Coach Speak Index Discord saying that he could be back this week. So the under on Henry looks good to me.
Oh yeah, the Justice Hill being back could be very intriguing there. And like you said, the lean on Lamar a little bit more. Of course, he does have the immune system of a Victorian child, so we'll have to see how good he is out there. That's my only issue with Lamar so far. I mean, fantasy football bitterness aside, he ruined my season with these last couple weeks that he had, but he has not played well in recent weeks at all.
No, he really hasn't. So we'll have to see how this one plays out, but I like the under here for Henry for sure.
Mm-hmm. We will have to see. I know that we've bet that Derrick Henry number a lot this season, and it has worked out pretty well for us.
Yeah, we have. Henry unders have been pretty nice.
Yeah, Russian 05 in the chat saying that Henry one is terrifying. Honestly, like we're not betting yardage. We're not betting we're betting on usage for a game script where even if he is going off. Remember last week they didn't use him in the fourth quarter. He did not touch the ball. Like total Derrick Henry game script did not touch the football fourth quarter. Yeah.
Pretty nuts. And it's not like they're big favorites here or anything. It's like a 3-point, they're like a 3-point spread or something like that. So, there's even a chance that they're trailing and they can't lean on Henry in the second half, even if they want to.
I'd say there's probably a good chance they're trailing like this. At the very least, this game, I don't see this game being a blowout, but I could see it being, one of those AFC North rock fights where it's just two teams that are just punting the ball back and forth the whole time.
Yeah, I could certainly see that.
Yeah. All right. It's week 18. We have one more chance here. We can't not have some terrible quarterback prop overs. Let's talk about Chris Oladapoun, man.
Oh, I believe it's pronounced a lot of money. That's what I was told it's pronounced earlier today because we're going to make all the money betting on this guy. Am I on the right spot? What is going on? Oh, I think I probably spelled his name wrong, huh? Yep, that would do it. So we're looking at his passing yards over, but the completions are good. The attempts are good. But the yards, they're just so low right now. Our best line is going to, they're all kind of all over the lines are all over the place. They're all pretty similar. I think we'll call for tracking purposes. We'll call this MGM line 136.5 minus 115 as our number. But really, you can bet any of them wherever you have access here. This is a guy who is the third string quarterback for the Kansas City Chiefs. Not particularly good. Only threw like 15 passes last week. But I think there is reason to believe that he's going to be above that. First, Kansas City is one of, if not the most pass-heavy team in football to begin with. Without Mahomes, they're not going to pass as much. But they've shown in the past when Mahomes doesn't play, they will still be on the pass leaning side of that ledger. And even last week where the volume wasn't high for a lot of money, the Chiefs were still above average in terms of their pass rate. It was just that they didn't get a whole lot of total volume. So I like that. I like that they're going into a dome here against Vegas. I like that the line is set so freaking low. The blitz is almost 100 yards over the line. Like, how are we not going to bet this? I don't think I've ever seen a line this low before for a quarterback. Have you, Tom? Like, you see like sometimes like Justin Fields lines at like 160 or 155 or something. I don't think I've ever seen a line in the 130s.
Yeah. I feel like there's some really bad quarterback that we had that was getting down here. I'm trying to remember who, but like it was not even the 44-year-old Philip Rivers lines were getting down here. It might have been the Baker Mayfield game when he like just ironically playing against the Raiders. Remember when he went to the Colts on like Thursday and won the game on Monday for the with that?
Yeah.
I feel like that could be it, but yeah, 135 passing yards is insane. And dude, Loopy Snoopy is here saying, don't forget about those alts. Some silly numbers over at Caesars, 220 yards for plus 1,300. The next thing that we wanted to talk about here was those alt props.
Yeah. So there's a lot of people saying, oh, look at the alts, look at the ladders. We are going to ladder this. The one I liked the best was over at Caesars. It was 210 plus yards at plus 900. But the 1,200 for over 225 is good. Any of them are going to be good. But for tracking purposes, we'll use the 210 plus 900 at Caesars because, like I said, we're almost 100 yards over the line here. If you're going to give me a line that matches the projection or almost matches the projection, you're going to give me like plus 700 or plus 900 or plus 1,200 on it. I am going to take that.
Yep. Against the Raiders too. It's
against the Raiders.
Like you could pass on this team. They're actively trying to tank.
Yeah. No, this should be a pretty good one, I think. I'm surprised that the main line is set this low.
Yeah. We really do have to take advantage of this one for sure. Chad Martin says we have made lots of money riding back quarterbacks over the years, but Christmas, Oladapoun, Johnson, and Brosmer did not go well.
No, it did not. Christmas was a massacre. Christmas was not a good day for making money.
Yeah, we were returning some gifts for the kids this year. That's for sure. But hey, we're here. We're ready to rebound. We're gonna make it all back with this Oladapoun monster. In the meantime, we got one more bad quarterback, people, and it ain't Geno Smith. we are somehow scraping even further depths of the barrel this week. Trey Lance, baby.
We're looking at Trey Lance. And again, all of his passing markets are going to show value. We're going to go to the completions here for this one. Over 15.5 completions, minus 108 at FanDuel is our best line. The Blitz is projecting 18.5, so 3 completions over the number here. They're facing Denver, which is obviously not ideal, and Denver does have plenty of incentive to win this game. But that's still a low number for a guy who is potentially a very competent quarterback in terms of backups go, as far as backups go. And they are, I think we mentioned it earlier when we were talking about Pat Bryant, like almost 2 touchdown underdogs here. So they should have to be throwing the whole game. You know how I feel about these bad quarterback overs. If you're going to give me a 15.5 on a bad quarterback in that kind of game script, I'm going to take it.
Plus, it's not like they're going to yeah, you're benching a bunch of guys. This game doesn't really matter. They're fine. They're not going to be worried about game script here. They're going to be fine throwing the ball.
Yes.
Interestingly enough, I did see this on Twitter. I know that a lot of the contract incentive stuff is already priced in all the time, but take a look at Keenan Allen markets, because he was actively, he and Trey Lance were actively talking during a press conference or a locker room interview or something about, like, he needs 6 receptions for a $750,000 bonus. And so Trey was joking about it too. Like, oh man, I need a new car. And I gotta say, that's one to probably keep an eye on, because you at least know that they're eyeing that bonus.
Let's see where that is right now, because normally I wouldn't think Keenan Allen would play much in this game, but they don't even have him available. So all right. But we'll keep an eye on it. If they put that Keenan Allen one up, especially if it's, well, we'll have to see. That could be interesting.
Yeah, I think that's one that I'll probably be taking a look at, because at least someone actually said something about it. That they have it on top of mind here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to conclude the props portion of the show here that we have. Let's talk a little bit more. Reed Phillips says plus 175 at 175 yards at 3-1 at 365 if you have 37 cents to spare. That's interesting, but I feel like you can find a better line than that.
I think there's better lines than that out there.
Yeah, I would I would take a look at that. Reed is also joking about the fact that you can only get 37 cents down at 365, which is pretty accurate statement. All right, ladies and gentlemen, what questions do you have? What do you want to look over today? We'll talk a little bit more about this contract incentive stuff and the things that, let's face it, most of you probably know about, but we'll still go over them. But in the meantime, drop your questions in the chat now as I go through our last recap of the regular season. We have Rico Dowdle under 2.5 receptions at minus 105 at DraftKings, MGM, and 365. Zach Charbonnet under 1.5 receptions plus 105. And Pat Bryant under 2.5 receptions plus 118 at FanDuel. Then we've got Derrick Henry under 18.5 carries at plus 107 at Caesar and Novig. Chris Oladapoun over 135.5 passing yards, minus 115. And we're going to be climbing that ladder because we've also got him plus 210 passing yards at a whopping 9-1. Shop around, find the ladder that works best for you. You'll know good value when you see it on this one here. And then, ladies and gentlemen, we've got cap it off. Trey Lance over 15.5 completions at minus 108. We are betting on some bad quarterbacks this week, Derek. But hey, that's how we're going to make some money here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we've got some talk to do. Derek wants to know, no TDs this week. Maybe we can find you a TD here. I'm sure we could dig something up. And while we're doing that, does the Blitz have attempt and yard protections for Tank Bigsby available yet?
It has projections available for everybody. Are there lines available for Bigsby yet? I can tell you what the projections are. You give me one sec.
It doesn't look like there's much out for him yet, which can't say I'm surprised.
Yeah. If you have the subscription at Roto Grinders for DFS, you can see everybody, even if they don't have lines. 14.5 carries, 62 yards, 0.43 rushing touchdowns for Bigsby is the projection right now. That's the mean projection. You do want to consider distributions, obviously, when you're doing it for betting purposes.
Mm-hmm. All right. Budzinski says Brady Cook. Let Brady cook us to the third overall pick. But the Jets love ruining the tank. I don't think that we have to worry about that this year. The Jets are rolling out the ultimate tank commander. I'm not worried about them losing this game. I'll say that. And Hell Plumber also wants to know any touchdown props. Let's pick out a touchdown prop right here, right now.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't see a whole lot that I really was comfortable betting. If I was going to do one, it might be this Travion Williams prop here that's showing up at the top. Dylan Sampson should be the lead back here. Raheem Sanders should be getting a good amount of the work near the goal line, but Travion is going to be in the mix. And so at plus 800, it looks like he's showing a little bit of value. But yeah, it's a sparse week everywhere. A lot of times, there's some touchdown props that I'm like, all right, well, I just want to pick one or two out of these like 10 that project well. Even with touchdowns this week, there's not a lot.
Yeah, it is one of those weird weeks a little bit here. But hey, we got something. It's something. Next favorite markets for Trey Lance outside of completions.
Attempts almost made the list instead of completions, but then I switched over at the last minute. So we'll take a look real quick. Trey Lance attempts, best lines. If you have FanDuel, it's actually the best line, 27.5 minus 114. And the blitz is projecting like 33.
I like that. Like I said, they're probably going to not care about slinging it. Rabbi and Lou wants to know Tonjes at plus 850.
I wouldn't bet him yet just because we don't know if Kittle's going to play. I mean, Kittle kind of said he's going to play. Whether he actually does or not is another story. I think if Kittle plays, Tonjes tends to not get much work. So I'd probably pass on that one for now, unless we get news or rumors that Kittle's going to be out.
Super specific metric question, but is there any history of betting against player incentives? Maybe those lines are juiced or cheap owners might instruct. I would say this is not worth your time. Like the amount of time that you are going to put into trying to reverse engineer something like this into a bettable system is probably not worth, like the juice is probably not worth the squeeze here.
Yeah, there have been times where those bets have shown up as values because they've just gotten so inflated because everyone's talking. Like last year, Mike Evans, I feel like everyone was talking about the Mike Evans over and how he needed his incentives, and he wound up getting it. The game was basically over, and they asked for an extra play that they normally wouldn't have. They gave it to Evans, and he got his over, or he got his incentive, but he was still under the line. So the under still hit, even though he got his incentive. So like there have been situations like that have worked out nicely. Yeah, for the most part this week, I either haven't seen lines for some of this stuff or they just kind of look fair. So yeah, that's how I am on those.
Yeah, betting on the contracted incentive stuff is, it's not an edge. It's priced in. Everybody knows this stuff at this point. But yeah, betting against them, I think you might be able to do it when some of the lines get a little bit too inflated. But it feels like they get to a point where it's just the price is the price. So that is and Snoopy and Bud are both saying the Mike Evans ones this last year they brought it up too. Mark Paris says Chuba over 7.5 attempts minus 115. All right, so we got a minus 115 line here on the Chuba attempts.
Okay, I think I'd probably prefer even money or plus money if you can get it, but I know it's not available at a lot of books right now. I'd probably wait to see if it opens up better somewhere else because you're not getting a ton of value on that number.
Yep. Chuba under 1.5 receptions at plus money.
We can take a look how it projects, but I would think probably not. Again, we're kind of expecting Chuba to potentially get extra work this week. Now you can see the blitz is showing some very, very marginal value depending what line you get it at, but that looks like a no bet to me.
Yeah, that's a little rough. How about Trevor Lawrence rushing yards or touchdowns here?
Let's take a look at Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence rushing yards. Yeah, there's a little bit of value if you can get in close to this part of the market. The more you go this way, not as much value, 3 stars or 2 stars, but a lot of 4s out there. So yeah, you can think about betting the Lawrence over if you want.
Yeah. Greg, Rabbi Lou saying, Greg Ehrenberg tweeted, if you want to guarantee a profit betting on NFL props this week, bet the unders on every play with a contract incentive on Sunday morning. Probably not.
I think he means that a little tongue in cheek. Like, I know he can kind of troll those people a little bit. He's a fun account to follow, but you would probably, even if you're not profitable doing it, you are probably losing less money by doing that than on betting the overs on a lot of these incentives, I think, especially because a lot of the incentives this week are not like easily achievable ones. Like the Keenan Allen one you mentioned, like 6 receptions is a lot unless they really are just going to feed him the ball. Like I think Juwan Jennings needs like 9 or something like that. Like there's a few that are like really hard to get. So I would not be betting a lot of overs on them this year.
Yeah. But even saying, what about a toxic consent organization, stuff like that? And it's not real. Like there's no owner going, hey, we're not paying out this $250K to this guy. Don't throw him the football this week. Like that's just not how, not how it works. Mets wants to know real quick if Chuba does the blitz rush yards, Chuba. Prediction.
The blitz is giving him 36 right now. Not a lot of value on the rushing yards line. I do think there's upside beyond that if they do decide they're going to give him more work, but given where the projection's at now, where I am giving him a little bit more, still not a lot of value.
How about Garrett Price's Chris Oladokun pass attempts or completions? Which would you rather go there? I mean, we definitely want to go. I feel like this is one where you really do want to focus on those yardage stuff.
The yards were so low. It's one of these rare cases where I prefer the yards to the completions or the attempts, but they both project really well. You can see projecting close to 22 completions and the line is 16.5. The attempts projecting 31 attempts and the line's 26.5. Like they're all really good. It just depends on how many correlated bets on this one bad quarterback you want to make.
Yeah. It is. Yardage would be preferred. Then from there probably going over to these pass completions markets here. Any value on Tanner McKee anytime touchdown with the tush push? That's a good point. I think that the edge is probably a little bit behind us, but we have had some good spots. We have had some good spots with some of these guys.
It looks like we're getting plus 700, which is not showing value really, but it's worth. I want to go in and look at the Blitz's projection to make sure we're getting tush push stuff accounted for properly with him, because that is a good point. No, I am not projecting tush push for Tanner McKee. This is a good one probably. This, you know what? I'm going to make a executive decision right now. Because when I update the projection, I think this is going to show value. Let's call this a play. I'll update the projections, and when it comes out, I think we'll be seeing like probably some 5-star value on this. Because the projection right now is really low on his touchdown, and I should be accounting for the tush push with it.
Very nice. There you go. Shout out to Hell Plumber. I know he's mentioned McKee a couple times already here. So there we go. We like that. As Brooke KGB also says, would you stay away from McKee's passing yards under?
Let's take a look. I'm sure I'd stay away from the under. It's rare that bad quarterback unders are going to show value, but let's see. Oh wow, it's actually showing a little bit of value. That's odd. Well, it looks like you can bet it. I don't know. I guess it's okay. One of the rare ones where that's the case.
Interesting. Yeah, I was not expecting that.
No, I wasn't at all.
Maybe because this Eagles offense is just the most cursed thing you've ever seen.
It could be.
It's horrific. All right. Chad Martin says, for week 18, would you say you try to bet mostly unders as overs can be scary with starters potentially coming out? I think there is a little bit to that, but also we're mostly trying to bet unders anyway.
Yeah. So yeah, you can definitely say that unders feel a little bit safer this week than in other weeks, depending on who you're betting on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like also, like, keep in mind some of that stuff. It's not the be all end all, but who's got a Cancun trip on their mind, who's still playing for something, that kind of stuff. It matters to a degree. Loopy Snoopy says correlated money line parlay out there, 49ers Cardinals. If San Francisco wins, the Rams are locked in and play a meaningless game. Pays plus 675. I like it. As long as they are actually locked in and playing a meaningless game. Make sure of that. Because I don't know.
I'm pretty sure they will be, but McVay did say last week that he didn't like the way the team looked and that he wants the starters to play this week to sharpen up for the playoffs. So I would just keep that in mind. Like, they've already said they're bringing Tyler Higbee back from the IR to play this week, which is really weird if it's a game that they're not going to treat seriously. So do with that what you will.
Yeah, that is very surprising, especially because McVay is like the don't play your starters in the preseason kind of guy. But be careful. I feel like they can. I feel like the Rams aren't locked in. Like, if a win can move them up in seeding based on some other stuff. Like, I feel like they're one of those teams that potentially a win is the difference between going to Chicago or Philly or going to Tampa / Carolina.
I think that's only the case if 49ers lose. I think. I could be wrong.
But all right. Well, anyway, it is an interesting idea there. I'm not entirely familiar at this point with what the remaining playoff suggestions are. Anyway, McKee under passing yards. We already talked about that one. We talked about any pass catcher quarterback correlated incentives. I mean, you can
a lot that I've seen.
Yeah, you can take a little bit of look at, like, which guy like the attempts over with the Trey Lance, Keenan Allen stuff. Like, some of that's like his passing completions with Keenan Allen receptions, but I'm sure that you're not getting a great correlated price on some of these moves here with the pricing in. Bobcat wants to know estimate rush yards worth a look.
Yeah, we can take a look at that. It was showing value, but it wasn't available at a lot of books yet when I last saw it. A rush yard. Yeah, rush yard. So yeah, if you can get it, it's showing value. It's not available at a ton of books.
Yeah. Hard Rock has Tanner is it I'm guessing this
has got to be a lot of Kuhn.
Is it?
The 135 yards, right? Like, that's his number.
All right. Hard Rock has him at 18.5 completions and 135 yards. How does that? Well, either way, it's a lot of completions and not a lot of yards. Like, it doesn't.
I think that's what he's saying. I think, like, it doesn't jive.
Yeah. Oh, and Grateful says it is a lot of Kuhn. So yeah, it doesn't jive. You're completely correct. Yeah. And yeah, so very, very interested in a lot of Kuhn tonight, in this week, as we have already talked about on the show. That's going to be one. I'm hoping that I'm sitting on my couch on Sunday texting you, Derek, saying, hey, we hit that ladder, just like we got to do with those Michael Mayer receptions last week.
Man, I wish we took those Mayer receptions up further, because, man, seriously, he just crushed it.
Yeah, he had like 9 receptions in the third quarter.
Yeah, if anyone in chat wound up taking his ladder higher, let us know how high you took it. I'd be really curious to know, because what did he end up with, like 9 catches or something?
I think so. I think it might have been more than that. It might have been double digits. But insane. Glad we got there on that one. Tanner Tush Push McKee 2 TDs 100-1. That would be real fun.
I love it.
some books are at least temporarily pulling player props. Yeah, I'm sure that this week it is just going to be a tough week to find things because so many books just aren't going to put up lines when they're not sure who's playing, who's in, who's out. It's going to be a very wait and see till the end kind of week.
Yeah, that's definitely been my impression. It just doesn't seem like there's a lot of value on the board, but it also doesn't seem like there's just as many props, as much volume of props on the board. So I think that would make sense that this week books are being a little more cautious with it.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those weeks where books are trying to be very, very cautious. And hey, it's how they have to defend against people like us who are out there looking to 9 receptions on 10 targets for Mayer. That is just phenomenal performance there.
Yeah.
And yeah, we will hopefully be cashing a whole bunch more tickets, especially on a lot of Coon this week. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, any further questions for us? 2 seconds after Snoopy posted that, FanDuel dropped it to 80-1. That's great. But
monitoring.
Yeah. But ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it for us here on the show, I guess. Unless you have any other questions. Luffy says they're afraid of the $10 they gave me. I move lines. He is. Moving your first line is such a good feeling, and every time after that, you're like, "This is horrible," and I never want it to happen again.
Yep, 100%.
It's like getting limited. It's like getting limited on your first book. You're like, "Oh, I'm doing something right." Getting limited on every book after that, you're like, "This is terrible."
This is the worst.
This is the worst thing in the world.
It feeds your ego a little bit, and then you realize, oh, I can't bet on these books anymore.
Yeah, it becomes a problem really quickly.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being with us here through all 18 weeks of this regular season of the NFL. 17. We took a week off, maybe 2 in there, but hey, thank you for being with us for the long haul here on the show. It has been an absolute pleasure and a fantastic time. We love all the hijinks, all of the great inside jokes, all the stuff you guys have done to build this show up into something more over the year in 2025. And also, of course, for all of you people who have been with us here for the last several seasons. This is not goodbye. This is see you later, because we still have, of course, the playoffs to get through. So we will be back same time, same place next week, noon Pacific time, 3 p.m. Eastern, right here on Wager Talk TV. Thank you guys so much for being here. We'll be back for an admittedly smaller, shorter wild card round weekend show, but hey, it's going to be a fun time. Best of luck to everyone on all of their bets for this week and beyond. And of course, may you have a wonderful 2026. We love you all. Happy New Year. We'll see you next time. And Rabbi and Lou, yes, we will be here for the playoffs. Take care, everybody. Let's cash some tickets.